Coming up, our first storyteller, Brenda Prusak.
This is the moment against all the odds. Thank you, Chris. I would like to really thank the friends I see here tonight, particularly friends from Douglas House who are here. And the friends who really helped encouraged me to do this. I'd also like to dedicate this effort to Al Jacobson. With all my nervousness, Al. Al was a wonderful friend to us and a great mentor to me. It was 1982, the second year of our second marriage. We were contented, but we had no child in our lives. We made a decision to adopt a child from Korea. Though we knew our combined ages eliminated the chance of our adopting an infant, still, we could adopt a toddler. We started the adoption process. First, we completed a course on adoption for new parents. Next, we knew our caseworker, Hamai, would come for a home visit. On the day of the home visit, you could not find one crumb on the floor. I'd made cookies and the house glowed with plants. I tossed the dreary fern into the trash. What kind of a mother would keep a dying fern around? When the doorbell rang sharply, it felt like a plunge into freezing water. Please come in, Hamai. So, Larry, she smiles, you're an only child. You didn't grow up with siblings. You didn't have to negotiate sharing your toys. Do you think it's going to be difficult for you now to have a child now that you're 40? How will you share tasks with Brenda? For example, who's going to change the diapers? I think that's a good question, Hamai. Brenda, you've taught children for a long time, and you have 3 sisters, but that's very different than being a parent. You know you're going to have to stay at home for a full year with your child. What challenges do you see in that for yourself? That's so easy. I'd wanted to be a mother and a teacher from the time I'd lined up all my little dolls and stuffed bears in front of the fireplace and taught them. But are there right and wrong answers to these questions? We follow our plan to gloss over our own tricky beginnings in life. Can we be less than perfect and still have a child? A few days later, we are told we are qualified to be parents. We are told we are smart enough, financially stable enough, sufficiently clean and moral enough to have a child placed with us. Month after month is ripped off the calendar. At the end of 6 months, Hamai calls us. Brenda, I have a picture of the child you've been assigned to. I can't tell you any more than that. Can you be here at 3 tomorrow? We wait outside of Hamai's office. There's nothing to look at but a black door, the passageway to happiness or sorrow. Hamai comes out and tells us, I can only let you see this photo. No questions, please. You have to make the decision right now. Do you want this child? Hamai gives us a small photo of a 2-year-old girl named Hyunmi Kim. She weighs 30 pounds and is all of a yard long. She appears to be in good health, but there's no smile on her face. She seems to be saying, "Take me, I'm yours. I have nothing more to give you than what you see." Her dark hair has been pulled back into ponytails. She's been dressed in what would be considered a good dress for the occasion. The dress is a white sundress with blue and red and green stripes down the front. It's this little photo I carry with me at all times. My fingers tuck it safely into my bathrobe pocket. I prop it up on the dinner table. The photo sits beside me as I drink my morning coffee. Yun-Mi is my secret companion. I have no swollen belly, but I do have a child growing in my heart. I share this little photo with family and close friends. Some ask, what happened to her real parents? Are we not real enough? One afternoon, Larry calls me. "Bren, sit down." "Oh God, Larry, just speak." "Okay, Yun-Mi is coming. She's arriving at Kennedy Airport on Saturday, February 18th. Have you ever tried to run away from ticking clocks? I lie in bed, throwing the covers on and off. I'm never hungry. Whatever I wore yesterday is on my back today. Our kitchen shelves are stacked high with Korean packages. Magically, I think I'm going to understand Korean instructions. Yun-Mi's room has my studied attention. There are oversized books and teeny tiny books, and books that pop up with surprise monkeys, and books with lullabies to lull her to sleep. Toys are hidden in the attic. I don't want to overwhelm a child who's never had anything to call her own. I constantly make plans in my mind. We'll make chocolate pudding. I know, we'll do it on the kitchen floor. We'll do music classes together. I know, I'll learn to speak Korean. Then came the day Yun-Mi is scheduled to arrive. We fly to New York City. Our friends have lent us their apartment. Friday is a total blur. We traipse through Central Park on the lookout for families with children. We return late to the apartment. I plan to have an exquisite soak in bubbles before we go out for a last romantic dinner at our favorite French restaurant. Out of nowhere, the phone rings. I panic. I hear Larry saying, "Tonight? The plane is in Anchorage now? You mean she's arrived? She's in Alaska?" This is the call that immediately changes our lives. We learn someone from the adoption agency forgot to figure in the international date line. Yun-Mi is here. I leap out of those bubbles. "Come on, Larry, let's get to the airport." At Kennedy Airport, we're directed to a separate area. Here, other families with an entourage of friends wait for their expected children. Half hours slide by. Suddenly, the far door opens. In a flurry of cries, tears, and shouts, babies are delivered to outstretched arms. There's no Yun-Mi. What if at the last moment her mother, her birth mother, decided to keep her? We watch in remote silence as small groups of families gather their balloons, stuffed animals, and their long-awaited for child. We're left behind, totally alone. The vast room expands into deep silence. I begin negotiating with God, the God I keep tucked away for emergencies. "Look, God, if you give us Yun-Mi, I promise." Suddenly, the door bursts open. We're very confused. We see a tall pilot striding purposefully toward us. The Korean stewardesses in their high heels strain to keep up with him. All are beaming smiles at us. Then I see, tucked in the pilot's arms, a tiny little head poking out. I see only matted black hair. The rest of this tiny little body is hidden in the blue of the pilot's arms. Can I trust the universe after all? Is Hyun-mi really here? The pilot ever so gently walks to me and gives me Hyun-mi. I enfold her tightly. With immense joy, I feel her tired body nestling into mine. She rests her head against my chest. I whisper to her over and over again, "You are so perfect, so beautiful, so very much loved." I look into Larry's eyes, filling with tears. Tears roll down my cheeks. The pilot and stewardesses all have wet cheeks. Hyun-mi looks at all these teary faces. She scrunches up her little face, and then she too begins to cry.